The Grove is where some of the most powerful men in America vanish into a forest. No press access, no public transcripts, no live streams. For 2 weeks, presidents, cabinet officials, intelligence-linked figures, billionaires, oil executives, defense contractors, bankers, and media leaders gather beneath ancient redwood trees in Northern California. They call it Bohemian Grove. They call it a retreat, a tradition. They say boys will be boys. But when political power and corporate power converge in complete privacy, history suggests something important is happening. Bohemian Grove is located in Monterey, California, on approximately 2,700 acres of forest land owned by the Bohemian Club. The club was founded in 1872 in San Francisco by journalists, artists, and musicians who wanted a private place to socialize. In the beginning, it truly was a cultural society. Writers, poets, and performers gathered under the label Bohemian, a term associated with creativity and unconventional thinking. But San Francisco was rapidly becoming a financial and industrial powerhouse. Railroad empires expanded, banking families rose, oil fortunes grew. As wealth accumulated, wealthy patrons joined the club, industrialists joined, political figures joined. Over time, the center of gravity shifted. By the early 1900s, the Grove was no longer just an artistic retreat. It had become a gathering place for influence. Presidents have attended, including Herbert Hoover, Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, and George H.W. Bush. High-ranking cabinet members, military officials, intelligence-connected individuals, and CEOs from major corporations have also been documented as members or guests. Executives from energy companies like Exxon and Chevron, leaders connected to defense contractors, banking executives, media executives. These names are part of the historical record. The Grove's motto, carved in stone, reads, "Weaving spiders come not here." The phrase implies that business deals and political plotting are forbidden inside the camp. According to the club, the retreat exists so members can shed responsibility, leave behind stress, and enjoy fellowship without agendas. That explanation is plausible. Public life is relentless. Corporate leadership is demanding. Privacy is rare. But here's the tension. History shows that informal gatherings of powerful individuals often matter as much as formal meetings. Policy may be drafted in Washington. Contracts may be signed in boardrooms. But relationships, the foundation of influence, are built socially. Bohemian Grove is organized into smaller subgroups known as camps. Each camp has its own culture and long-standing membership. Some camps reportedly include concentrations of political figures. Others include energy executives or financial leaders. Over decades, journalists have identified patterns in these networks. Members return year after year. They dine together. They relax together. They form familiarity. Even if no official business is conducted, proximity creates alignment. Alignment shapes perspective. One of the most widely discussed events at Bohemian Grove is the cremation of care ceremony. On the opening weekend, members gather at night before a towering 40-foot owl statue, an effigy representing care, meaning worldly burdens and anxieties, is placed on a small boat and symbolically burned in a theatrical ritual involving robes, torches, music, and scripted dialogue. The club describes it as symbolic theater, a way to cast off stress and embrace camaraderie. Journalists who have witnessed it describe it as dramatic but staged. There is no verified evidence that the ritual involves criminal activity or literal occult practice. But symbolism is powerful, especially when performed by those who shape national and global systems. The owl itself has sparked decades of speculation. Officially, it represents wisdom, commonly associated with Minerva in Roman mythology. Critics have drawn connections to ancient symbolism and esoteric traditions. Some have made darker claims, though historians and the club reject those interpretations. Regardless of interpretation, the imagery is striking. Political leaders and corporate executives standing in robes beneath redwoods, watching a symbolic effigy burn before a massive owl. Even if theatrical, it feels deliberate. In 2000, Alex Jones infiltrated Bohemian Grove with hidden cameras and recorded the cremation of care ceremony. The footage circulated widely online and became one of the earliest viral conspiracy-era exposés. Mainstream journalists later acknowledged the ceremony's theatrical nature, but the footage confirmed key facts. The ritual existed, the secrecy was real, and the guest list was powerful. The deeper issue, however, has never been the robes. It has been the concentration of influence. Consider historical timing. In 1980, Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon were both present at Bohemian Grove during a pivotal political period. Reagan would soon secure the Republican nomination and later the presidency. Nixon later referenced the Grove in private recordings, confirming attendance while criticizing aspects of it. There is no documented evidence that campaign strategies were drafted beneath the redwoods. But shared environments matter. Informal proximity strengthens alliances. Bohemian Grove also hosts what are known as lakeside talks. These are private lectures delivered to members on topics including foreign policy, economics, national security, science, and global affairs. Distinguished speakers address a closed audience of influential leaders. No transcripts are released publicly. No media coverage is permitted. Imagine the setting: senators, corporate executives, military leaders, and financial magnates listening to off-the-record briefings about global strategy. Nothing illegal, but undeniably significant. Compare this to other elite gatherings like the World Economic Forum in Davos or the Bilderberg meeting. Those events are controversial, but they are publicly acknowledged. Agendas are shared. Journalists attend. Bohemian Grove operates differently. It blends exclusivity, ritual, and generational continuity. It has endured for more than 150 years. That endurance suggests it serves a function its members value deeply. Critics argue the Grove represents an old guard power network, historically male-dominated, socially insulated, and shielded from public accountability. For much of its existence, women were excluded from membership. Legal challenges forced certain structural changes, but the Grove retreat itself remains largely male. Supporters argue it is a private club exercising lawful freedom of association. The debate itself reflects a broader tension between privacy and transparency. Democracy relies on openness. Elite retreats rely on discretion. When elected officials and corporate executives gather without oversight, the public cannot see what conversations occur. Influence rarely requires conspiracy. It requires comfort. If a future president spends years bonding socially with oil executives, defense contractors, and financial leaders, does that familiarity shape future decisions? Not through secret contracts, through shared worldview, through trust, through human nature. History is filled with examples of informal networks shaping global outcomes. Royal courts, private salons, exclusive clubs, these environments have long served as incubators of alignment among elites. Bohemian Grove fits that historical pattern almost perfectly. A secluded forest, invitation-only access, generational membership, repeated annual gatherings. Over time, this produces cohesion. Cohesion among powerful individuals can influence the direction of industries and governments. The phrase, "weaving spiders come not here," suggests business is left outside the gates, but conversation does not stop simply because a motto demands it. Economic regulation, energy markets, defense spending, foreign alliances, these topics shape the world. When leaders responsible for those domains spend extended time together, even casually, perspectives converge. That convergence may not be coordinated. It may not be intentional, but it can be powerful. The most important detail may not be the ceremony. It may be continuity. Bohemian Grove has outlasted world wars, economic collapses, presidential administrations, and technological revolutions. Members return year after year. Relationships extend across decades. Election cycles come and go. Corporate CEOs retire. But the Grove remains. That stability creates an enduring network of familiarity at the highest levels of power. There is no confirmed evidence that wars are planned at the foot of the owl. No leaked documents proving secret global directives. But influence rarely leaves documented trails. It operates through culture, through repeated exposure, through subtle reinforcement of shared assumptions. Bohemian Grove may be nothing more than tradition. It may be symbolic theater and expensive camping, or it may function as a quiet reinforcing mechanism for elite alignment. In a democratic society, transparency builds trust. When powerful figures retreat into total privacy, curiosity grows. Not because of proven wrongdoing, but because of possibility. Because history shows that major shifts in global policy are often preceded by conversations that never appear in headlines. Conversations in private homes, in exclusive clubs, in secluded retreats, sometimes beneath ancient redwood trees, far from public view. The real question is not whether Bohemian Grove practices literal occult control. There is no solid evidence for that claim. The real question is more grounded, and perhaps more important. When the architects of finance, defense, media, and government gather privately year after year, does that environment subtly shape how they see the world? Does it influence what policies feel acceptable? Which alliances feel natural? Which industries feel trustworthy? Not through conspiracy, through connection. Bohemian Grove is a symbol, not necessarily of dark ritual, but of concentrated familiarity among those who steer powerful systems. And concentrated familiarity has shaped history before. Maybe it is harmless, maybe it is tradition, or maybe, like many elite institutions that persist quietly for generations, its influence is subtle rather than dramatic. Because the world is rarely changed in front of cameras, it is often shaped quietly through networks built far from public sight, and sometimes you can find them in the woods of Northern California.